This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
La 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 la. Isn't this fun? Lovely stroll on the moors. Did you hear that? I heard that. What is it? You think it's a dog? Nice doggy. Good boy.
What happened to them?
Well, the police report said they were attacked by an escaped lunatic.
A wolf. My friend Jack was just here. Told me that I will become a monster in 2 days.
Your dead friend, Jack.
Yes.
Gotta believe me, David.
Believe what? You're one of the undead, and I'm a werewolf.
Tomorrow night's the full moon. You're gonna change.
A what?
You'll become...
I know. A monster.
A naked American man stole my balloon.
What?
What did I do last night?
You don't remember?
The last remaining werewolf must be destroyed. It's you, David.
Run!
Good Lord.
Hey nerds, it's Sammy, and this is Barrel Aged Chicks. Let's do this. Tonight on panel we have...
No, we're fine.
And finally...
Hi, this is Crystal, and I make everything awkward.
Welcome
kids are out there
to
playing
this
with,
episode.
Freddy, why don't we take him out?
This episode of Barrel Aged Chicks.
Barrel Aged Chicks. Wait.
Yay! Because this will be out for spooky season.
Happy Halloween.
Spooky snow.
Why do things get inherently more scary? God, I don't think that sounds scary. Well, see, when you're in a horror movie kind of thing, when people get really quiet like that, it does get scary. But do you remember, I can't remember what movie we were doing, but we all just started whispering at each other, and out of nowhere, Sammy was like, wouldn't it be terrible for us? So suddenly we got all loud again.
I might have made a few listeners bleed from the ears. Sorry.
I do that every day. But it's just my regular voice. Sorry, guys.
All right, so it is Saturday, and we are here to record. And tonight we are tackling An American Werewolf in London from 1981 by John Landis. I am so excited about this because I love the werewolves.
No,
dude,
really?
Yes, a little bit.
Oh, don't forget about the ending.
Your face.
Oh, I forgot I put that on there for you.
Do what?
Oh, he took it off. Good. It doesn't explode anymore.
Oh, yes. No, that was very sad. The first time Ron put on the werewolf noise, at the end there was like a bomb.
Oh, somebody blew it up?
Apparently.
Yeah, they blew it up. It was Ahmed, the dead terrorist. He was there.
He doesn't want to come on. It made me very sad. Oh, yeah. No, it was this.
Oh,
That
they went
followed.
together?
Yes. Yes. They did the wolf howl and then that. And I was like, oh.
Well, that's what you do to get rid of the wolf.
Blew it up.
You blew it up.
Blew it up. All right. So first, we are going to kick things off with the cocktail. I am calling this a werewolf blue moon because it's supposed to be a blue moon, but I didn't have half the shit. So there you go.
So it's just blue.
No, it's a werewolf blue moon.
It's a frosty blue milks.
Yeah, I was
All
about to say,
right.
it sort of looks like Star Wars.
Yeah,
Well,
She got
that
the
was a
wrong
delicious
movie.
drink, so I'm kind of excited.
We'll find out. We'll find out. So
Does it taste like melted ice cream?
I don't know. It might. Y'all will find out. All right. So please go ahead and give them a try, guys.
Cheers.
I will clink.
I have styrofoam
Snow
cup.
said no
That's
thanks.
fucked up.
I have a styrofoam cup. Mine won't clink. Mine softly taps.
Gotta sound it out.
All right. There we are. Salud.
Cheers.
What do you have in this fucking drink?
I will get to that. If I had my phone.
It's not good right off the bat, but then as soon as you sip it and like it's out of your mouth, it's fantastic.
Once it's not in your mouth, it tastes good.
No, like it's got
Wait.
the
That's how my brain
that work.
That's how my brain took it, and I was like, I'm confused.
You know what it tastes
No, like when you first take that sip, you taste the alcohol, and then as soon as that's gone, all you have left is like really sweet ice cream.
There's a lot of alcohol in it.
The
Yes.
alcohol burn
Yeah,
immediately
there-
goes
there
away, and
will.
you're left with like a really good melted ice cream taste.
Okay, see, this is the weird thing. This kind of tastes like the
Medicine.
No, all right.
You've taken.
It tastes like a older, like cheaper version of mint chocolate chip ice cream without the mint,
Yes.
So wouldn't that just be like chocolate chip ice cream?
Yeah.
but it still has that flavor that mint chocolate chip ice cream has. It's kind of weird how
I
to
think you're
explain.
saying mint chocolate chip ice cream without the chocolate. You said without the mint.
There's no minty.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It's just it's got the taste.
Well, there's no chocolate in this, so.
It's not bad actually. I mean, it's not horrible. It's
I have to admit, I am getting over being super, super, super hella sick this week, so my taste buds are jacked. So I'm probably not the best judge. But I like the creamy and the cold.
All right. Well, there's that. All right. So what this drink
So that's the ticket.
Creamy and cold.
creamy and cold.
Not body temperature.
Got it.
Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and give my review. I give this a 2. It's not bad. I actually don't mind it.
Woo!
I actually like it. It's the taste is actually growing on me. Believe
Yay!
it or not. I mean, I can't explain what it is, but it's good. It's not bad.
It's a lot of alcohol.
I want to know what's in it.
All right. So it is. These are approximates. I'm going to go read off of what the original was, and then I'll throw in my variations. So it's a cup of crushed ice. It is a quarter cup of I did vanilla vodka. The original was for just vodka. A quarter cup of blue curacao. A quarter cup of whipping cream. And then it said vanilla flavored syrup, but I did the vodka, so I just put simple syrup in. And then instead of 2 tablespoons of fresh squeeze, fuck me running, 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed orange juice.
There we go.
Enunciation. I threw in a Capri Sun because I didn't have orange juice.
Flavor Capri Sun.
Fruit punch. And then I put in one of the mini bottles of Grand Marnier,
Okay.
Just because?
and then a little splash of triple sec. No, because
So much alcohol
It was
in
going
this thing.
for orange, so I wanted orange to be there. And then
But
I blended.
it's blue.
Well, it's confused.
So is
What
my
the hell
brain.
makes this thing blue though?
Because it's
curacao?
originally,
Oh yeah.
the blue
curacao.
curacao.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, the blue curacao.
I missed that part.
And so originally it was a blue moon, but because I made some changes, I'm calling it a werewolf blue moon.
Which I think
Because it's not quite the same. It's a little
Surprised it
different.
doesn't actually have blue moon in it.
No blue moon.
Yeah, you scared the shit out of me. I'm like,
no,
I don't do beer.
No, and Ron straight up was like, so you're getting a beer? Because I go, I think I'm going to do a blue moon. He goes, oh, so you're going to get a beer? I'm like, no, there's a cocktail called a blue moon. And then, ergo, ba-dum-ba-da, that is what I ended up doing.
Yeah, we would have had a first in podcast history of someone refusing to drink their drink
No.
because, like, nah.
No, I know that the ladies are not beer fans. I'm not going to subject them to that. So, no, thank you. I don't have to drink it, so I'm not going to, like, force it on other people.
I'm gonna.
What do you think? There's snow? I gave Ragnar the hiccups.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 1.5 for mouthfeel. So again,
You know what? Fuck it. I'll take a texture plus.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it feels good. It tastes weird, but everything tastes weird right now. So I'm really a terrible judge of character for drinks
For this drink.
and in
It's
general.
Shady. It's shady.
I do feel that I do taste the aftertaste.
All right. What about you, Ragnar?
It's a lot of alcohol, and that's all I taste is the
I
alcohol.
wanted to
which
make
is why
sure-
I think it's.
I wanted
I'm
to
feeling
kill any
medicinal.
more of the, like, last minute bugs that are in your system. I wanted to napalm that shit.
I want that too. I will
You're
drink
welcome.
Lysol at this point. And I'm not kidding.
Fucking
well,
Everclear
at least
around
it
here,
tastes.
something right there, right in
It's
front
got
of you.
pleasant
It does-
mouthfeel.
It has pleasant mouthfeel. It tastes like Lysol and has a pleasant mouthfeel. 1.5.
Hey, I'll take it. 1.5 is not too bad. How about you, Ragnar?
You make no goddamn sense.
Ragnar's perplexed.
You've been married to me for almost 20 years. Of course I don't make sense.
I know. I'm used to it.
You should be.
Aw, you two are adorable. I love it. So, Ragnar, what is your review? He's like going at it like a milkshake.
You have to drive later.
Shammy.
Yay!
Well, duh.
Mouse already finished hers. I'm excited to hear Mouse.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, no, you're over here talking
No,
about
no,
oh, Ragnar. He's drinking. It's
Ragnar's-
like a milkshake.
Ragnar's on first, and then I want to hear Mouse because she powerhouse that bitch.
She's going to be feeling no pain.
Yay!
No.
All right,
She
Ragnar.
better come and pick her out later.
It's weird.
Brain freeze.
It's really fucking weird.
It's weird, right?
Thank you.
So it's not
It
just
is.
me and my weird taste
No,
buds
it's
right
not. It's not. You're weird anyways, but this is weird.
now. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Is it weird bad?
No, it's not bad. It's good
hard
weird.
to pinpoint.
It's a good weird. Yes!
It's got like
It's me!
So the vanilla vodka you can taste,
Okay.
but it's like it's faint, but then it decides to say "fuck you," I'm coming back.
Yeah.
You taste the fruit punch?
No.
Because I get a little
Smidge.
smidge of it.
Just a
Okay,
smidge.
good. So I'm not the only one.
Just a smidge of it. It's surprisingly tasty.
So how many middle fingers?
I'd give it 2.
Woo!
There you
Yay!
go.
Woo-hoo! Ba-bam!
I would drink this one again.
Oh, well, there's some still in the blender.
I feel like I should give it 2 just because I'm sure it tastes better than I can taste.
That's up to you, girl. If you want to up, you know
Oh, it's so bad. What, yesterday I ate bad cheese and didn't realize it was bad.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you should go to a 2. I'm just saying that's just
Moldy?
that's bad.
No, it wasn't
It was just
moldy.
sour.
It
It was
just-
sour.
It had a musky,
like a sour.
Oh,
smell.
like when shredded cheese gets wet in the bag and you open it up and you smell it.
Yeah, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
the
wet.
musk,
It was
the
dry.
cheese
but
musk.
I couldn't smell or taste it, and they could, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't eat our food." And I was like, "It tastes fine to me." I ate the whole thing. My stomach hurt a little bit.
I bet.
Really?
Food poisoning. Delicious. Num 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 num
This
num
is
num
just
num
one
num.
more thing I need this week.
Man, we're just abusing our guts. I'm over here killing pound after pound of grapes, and you're eating rotten cheese.
Not today.
All I did was just take out a small flock of chickens today. I was so hungry.
You're always hungry.
I know. I'm a bottomless pit.
You are.
So, Snow, are we going to upgrade or are we going to keep it 1.5?
I'll give it a 2.
Yes!
Because my mouth sucks.
Fuck yeah! Woo! All right, Mouse, your
Yep.
turn. 2. Yay! Woo! And all around the fences.
It's a difference.
It tastes like
grows on you.
to me it tastes like cough syrup with a milkshake.
Which sounds exactly like what you need right now.
Emily, like it's medicinal. We're good.
Your taste buds must be met.
Hey, you know what? I'm all about
my
I'm
whole
all
mouth
about
is-
medicinal.
It's
Mouse
because
knows
of
that.
the amount of alcohol in it, which is why that's all I taste.
I'm
and I've been drinking
napalming.
NyQuil like it's water.
Water, yeah. Like I am
So.
napalming any last bacteria for Snow right now. You're welcome.
I feel
You
fine.
got a lot in here.
There is a lot of
There was.
And a lot of it cancels each other out.
Hey, this is Sammy from Barrel Aged Chicks. Thanks for listening to our show, and please enjoy this commercial.
What's up, Goreheads? This is Ben and Nancy from the Extreme Horror Replay podcast.
We like to bicker, complain, needle, and criticize. And if we're lucky, we'll squeeze a horror movie review in there somewhere.
We've been married a long time, so we know how to argue. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms, and you decide who's right or wrong in the argument.
American Werewolf in London. I'm super duper excited to do this film. And again, this is a John Landis film. John Landis is, of course, known for his Blues Brothers, National Lampoon's Animal House, Trading Places, Spies Like Us, Three Amigos, Coming to America. And then he went from yes, he went from comedies to wanting to do some horror, and he did Into the Night, Innocent Blood, and then, of course, An American Werewolf in London. So this film was his horror movie, and this movie took 11 years to go from concept to actual film.
Wow.
Yes, he actually came up with it when he was a production assistant in Yugoslavia when he was 18.
Oh, wow.
He dropped out of high school, got into film, and went over there, and he was helping on Kelly's Heroes in 1970. And he was actually with, I can't remember the name of the gentleman with him, but a Yugoslavian gentleman that was with him. And while there, he witnessed a gypsy or a Roma burial ritual.
Okay.
Where he saw basically this group of gypsies. They had this body wrapped up in rosaries and garlic, and they were burying him at a crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, John Landis is asking his Yugoslavian friend, like, what's going on? And the Yugoslavian is asking, like, what's happening? Well, the reason why they went through all of this is because the person being buried had done like a really bad crime, like murder or rape or something terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not want him coming back from the dead. They wanted to make sure if they planted him in the ground, he stayed in the ground. So it was to prevent him being a zombie.
So in order to not have zombies, you have to do a Yugoslavian burial ritual.
Yes,
Okay.
apparently. Well,
Good to know.
Well, a Roma or a gypsy, Yugoslavian gypsy burial ritual. So, he was just fascinated by it. And so then he basically was like, well, what would you do if you were toe to toe with the supernatural? What would you do as the average person if next thing you knew, you put a body in the ground and a zombie popped up?
Yeah.
In real life. And he was just fascinated with it. And that eventually became An American Werewolf in London. So after witnessing that burial, it gave him that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of held on to it. He went on to, his first production was, the write and direct was, it was called Schlock, I think is how it's pronounced, from 1978. It was about this man-ape monster, basically, who ends up falling in love with, or a blind girl ends up falling in love with, thinking that he's a dog. So again, it was that comedy kind of thing.
It's interesting because Rick Baker and him have this long-standing history.
Oh,
and
yeah.
even in Schlock, they were...
Yes, that was their first collaboration.
Yeah.
Collaboration. And I mean, their dynamic, I mean, with this film, the not CGI, sweet Jesus, the practical effects that Rick Baker came up with were
incredible.
They were groundbreaking.
Yeah.
He devised this whole piston system with syringes and all of this for extension for this, because this was the first on-screen full transformation of a werewolf ever done in bright light.
Yeah.
No shadows, no being sneaky.
Yeah.
And that's what Landis wanted.
Yeah.
He wanted to see that. He didn't want the classic, a lot of things that influenced us was, of course, 1941, The Wolf Man.
Yeah.
Where you see Lon Chaney and you see him go past the pillars, and each time he's a little more of the werewolf.
Right.
And so on. And they're like, I mean, of course, they're like, we could do this, but they didn't want to. They wanted to blow the doors off, and they did.
Well, what's really cool with Rick Baker is, 'cause I'm a huge fan of his.
Oh, he's fantastic.
I've been following him since I was in high school. And with this is his first break. Like, he had only done like 2 or 3 things before this movie.
Yep.
And then he creates these amazing special effects that nobody's ever seen before. So their whole collaboration was just really fantastic with the way it came together.
But yeah, no, Rick Baker, he actually won the competitive Oscar for
this was the inaugural makeup Oscar.
Yes,
this one
for this
movie.
For An American Werewolf in London. And prior to that, and I did find this, Rick Baker, and I'm pretty sure this is why you're a fan, he did the original cantina scene in Star Wars.
That's actually not what did it for me. It was Thriller.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Which is, again, Jonathan
Which was going to be my next thing.
Yeah, it's John Landis. But it's funny because you're talking
Thriller.
about how he came up with this idea back in Yugoslavia, was the idea of zombies. And what is Thriller? It's zombies and a werewolf cat.
Yeah.
It's a werecat, but werewolf.
Werecat, yeah.
Yeah, but it's the exact same thing is for Thriller.
And they were going for werewolf, but the reason that they didn't go 4-legged with Michael Jackson was, one, because they wanted him to be able to dance. So they did. And it's definitely
Cats
more
also
cat
have
esque.
4 legs.
Shut up, Snow.
They also don't stand up on their back legs.
I've seen some cats that do.
Dogs do it too.
Dogs do it too.
Especially the amputee dogs.
They're trying to humans. Not those. They only have that option. And they're so cute. They look like dobbies.
I know.
They
They
look
hop
like
around
dobbies.
like little kangaroos.
I know. They're so cute. So cute. And then some other cool things about Rick Baker was that he apprenticed under Dick Smith, who did very famous for The Exorcist and the effects on that. And the fact that this film helped not only like break the doors, like we said, with special effects, but it went on to affect so many future amazing films, like The Thing, the remake of The Thing in the 80s, The Fly, Poltergeist, all of those iconic horror movies all drew from An American Werewolf in London and the technology that came about from it.
Yeah.
One thing that I found in research that was kind of funny is that when John Landis was waiting to get financing for this film, which I will get to all the breakdown here in a few minutes. We're just getting into a little bit about Landis because he's a really cool director. Was that waiting for funding, Rick Baker actually went and was proposed by Joe Dante to do The Howling in 1981. And so he's like, okay, well, there's no money coming through from Landis. So, okay, cool. I'll go over here and I'll do this werewolf movie, basically. And then John Landis got his funding and he's like, hey, let's do An American Werewolf. And Rick Baker's like, I'm already doing a werewolf movie. And he's like, what? And he's like, did you, and Landis literally was like, did you show him like the stuff and everything? And he's like, yeah, kind of. And he's like, you bastard. Like he lost his shit. He was so upset. And so what ended up happening
Yeah, they both released the same year.
Yes, they did. They did. In competition.
Yeah.
Even though, funnily enough, neither one of the directors like saw it as competition.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. That there's like not hard feelings and stuff or like pissing contests, which I thought was kind of cool.
Are the werewolves very similar?
No.
That
No.
would be funny if
No.
they were.
So
the
totally
fact-
different. And
the
I
fact-
will be tackling The Howling in another episode, in a future episode, because it's
I've never
amazing.
seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It is good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, the werewolves are totally different beasts. Sorry. It was so easy. But yeah, no, it's...
You're punny.
I am punny. So Rick Baker obviously couldn't be in two places at once. So he ended up handing the Howling off to his apprentice, Rob Bottin. And Rob Bottin did an amazing job in The Howling. It is a fantastic werewolf movie by Joe Dante. You know, Gremlins, can't go wrong with Joe Dante. I love Joe Dante. And yeah, it's a super fun one that I hope, that eventually we will tackle, hopefully on Barrel Age Chicks.
We'll get there. It's
We'll
in your
get
list.
there. It's on the list. All right, so let's go ahead and get through. So you mentioned Thriller Snow.
Yes.
And I did want to talk about that.
I love Thriller.
Because it's an amazing
Epic
I'll
music
have
video.
I'll want to put in a little snippet of Thriller, just enough not to have copyright infringement, but I'll
Dun dun.
Thriller. Dun, dun, dun. All right. I know. Dun, 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 dun.
There you go. That's how you avoid your copyright.
There you go. All right. And Thriller, made in 1983 with Michael Jackson. I mean, that music video, again, you want to talk about iconic and
Yes.
blowing the doors off and setting a brand new standard for music videos through MTV.
Yes.
It was voted the best music video overall.
Yeah.
It is also Viewer's Choice, the Video Vanguard Award for the greatest video in the history of the world.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some bragging rights, John Landis? Holy smokes.
Well, like how many decades is it later?
And
And
it's
people
still-
still know exactly
and
how to do the
still
dance.
do the dance,
It's
and
still
it's
perfect.
amazing. I
like
play it
I'm
all
sitting
the
in my
time.
car and I'm like,
I graduated in 2017, and there was 3 or 4 people that were
I
dancing
was
that dance in
pregnant
prom.
with my 4th child.
We love the mouse. She makes us feel so old.
My favorite thing is to remind the guys and watch it wash over their faces.
Oh my goodness. But no, it is like you said, you can't not know what Thriller is.
Yeah.
You are going to see it at some point in your life.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because it's amazing. My all-time favorite part of it is Vincent Price doing the narration.
Yeah.
Oh, I love me some Vincent Price. I love his voice. I loved him in the original Fly. I loved him in House on Hill. Like,
It's actually exactly 40 years old this year. 1983.
for what? For
Thriller.
Thriller, yes.
40
yes,
years
it is.
old.
40 years old. Yeah, because American Werewolf is 42. So super, super duper cool, like, stuff like that. But unfortunately, with the sweet come the sour, because John Landis did end up getting blacklisted due to what happened on the Twilight Zone movie set, where he had a helicopter that decapitated Vic Morrow and two children actors.
I saw a video of this.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was terrible.
Yeah,
I was
and-
watching it on Shudder. There was a show. It was like the worst things to ever happen
Happened
on film.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yep.
It like
The Twilight
killed.
Zone, the movie in 1983.
That was him?
He was directing that. John Landis was directing it, and Vic Morrow and two children died on scene being decapitated by a helicopter. And so so that definitely, obviously, pretty much put a fork in Landis's direction from then on.
You're done.
Yeah, a little
You're
bit.
done enough.
A little bit.
Stop trying.
So, all right. So American Werewolf in London was released August 21st of 1981 in the U.S. In opening, it was budgeted at $10 million. Opening weekend only made $3,700,000-ish, and it grossed $30,500,000.
That's really good.
Or so. So it was a success, especially back in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Worldwide was a little higher at $30,600,000 and so.
So it made $60 million. That's a huge hit.
Is Worldwide separate than gross?
Yeah, no.
Or I think no.
It's U.S. and then worldwide.
Okay.
Gross is total.
Okay, so gross. I guess this is U.S. gross then that I have written down here, and then worldwide is separate.
Worldwide would be including the U.S.
Okay, then gross. Then worldwide would be the 30,600,000.
Okay, all right. I thought okay,
so on,
gotcha.
$1,000. So either way, it was a success, and it was very interesting getting into this because I found out so much cool stuff. Like it was, I was watching so many documentaries. It was fantastic. But as far as cast and crew, it's not a very heavy crew in this film. You have David Naughton, who plays David Kessler, who of course is David, who turns into the werewolf. You
get to see his dick a lot.
There's a lot of peen. There's a lot of David Peen.
I couldn't tell if it was circumcised or not, like the nurse who apparently identified him as Jewish, but it's definitely there.
It's definitely there. I didn't
All
look
the
that
time.
closely, but yes, there was definitely
It's
a lot
in front
of
of kids.
He's hiding it behind balloons. That scene, I have to admit, rewatching, I'm like, oh, he comes off super creepy.
Oh yeah. Standing in a lady's dress.
Oh yeah, just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Honestly, if I was her, and the guy that had been staying in my place came in wearing a lady's jacket, go back out the door. That's not my jacket.
I don't think she has a whole lot of options for her.
No.
I think she's got really low self-esteem.
She truly does.
Because she attached herself to that unconscious man immediately.
Yeah.
I have problems with
She
her.
a bit of a hoe. Sorry.
Yeah.
She a bit of a hoe.
Oh, you have nowhere to stay? Let me adopt you.
I know you've only been here in my house for
one
5
bed, but I've only had 3 one-night stands.
Yeah, but 7 people I
before.
fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, now let's make it 8.
Yeah.
And as Ron was
And
watching
I love you.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
My favorite part, though.
He's a basket
during
case.
that horrific sex scene, because that is a terrible sex scene. It is awful.
Which one, the shower or the porno?
All of them. Just all of them are terrible.
So watching it, I realized this was the first movie I ever saw sex.
Really?
I don't know how old I was. I'm pretty sure it was young. But this is the first movie I ever saw sex.
That's
that's fun.
Hopefully you didn't
Childhood
take notes
memories.
for your first time.
If Ragnar has any complaints, he can blame this movie because this is where I learned everything. Apparently,
No, it's no good. No good. Yeah, that
weird
sex scene was
kissing
rough.
and back rubbing.
Yeah, it's a
no,
lot.
No going below the mid back rubbing.
Yeah, no.
I bet you they were dumb enough to use soap as lube.
Dude, I'm telling you, like the sex scene was terrible. And then Ron and I are watching, and he's like, "Wait a minute." He's gonna put were-babies in her. I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah. No, my brain went there too. I was like, that bloodline's not over. That bitch is pregnant.
She's gonna have a litter.
Oh my gosh, no, I literally lost it. I go, it's not passed that way. It's not an STD, so calm down.
How do you know? It is passed through
It's
saliva.
in the blood. It's in the blood.
Which means
Oh, that's true.
it could definitely be passed through sex.
That's son of the American Werewolf.
I gotta say,
That's
I
where
would rather
American
have
Werewolf-
that than the fucking fly baby.
That's how American
Ew.
Werewolf in Paris. That's where American Werewolf in Paris came from. They're just the werebabies from this movie.
Dude, okay, so I did watch that again. I did watch that today too. Just because, and that movie is fucking terrible.
Oh, it is, but you gotta love the song from Bush.
I mean, but yeah,
That's an
fine.
amazing song.
It's the 90s. The music
So
in the
good.
90s is amazing. The movie was fucking terrible. I was like, oh, wow, this is bad.
Well, because it's almost a frame-for-frame reboot of An American Werewolf in London. It's just brought into the 90s, and it is rough. And the CGI is terrible.
The acting in both is terrible, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
acting in that one is just like
Really bad.
terrible. And I'm like, oh, you guys love each other too. How amazing is that? You've known each other for 5 seconds. I can't complain because I knew Ragnar for 6 weeks and I got married. But at the same time, like, y'all are fucking stupid.
But that's not 24 hours. Like
That's
longer
Disney
than 24
princess
hours.
syndrome.
Yeah. I just met you. Let's get married.
Fucking Anna.
Do what?
Anna from Frozen. I've only known you for like 35 minutes. Let's get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to hear something crazy? I love her.
Dude,
She's my favorite.
She's a stereotypical crazy redhead in a good way, though.
She is definitely like my spirit animal. I love her.
She's
great.
She's funny.
Yeah.
And
Elsa's
then-
stupid.
So then you've got Griffin Dunn, who plays Jack Goodman.
say Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. No, Griffin Dunn, who I actually just recently watched him in After Hours. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a Martin Scorsese flick. Ron asked me to watch it, and it's not a bad movie. It was actually kind of like, it's like this perpetual shit show, and then he ends up at work the next day, and you're like, okay, that was bananas. You just see his whole like epic, like basically failure of a night that happens. And then he ends up going back to work the next day. But I had just seen him. So seeing him again in this always brings a smile to my face because I actually love him as Jack. Jack is probably... I like Jack. Jack might be my favorite character. I'm not even going to lie.
I gotta say, I love the whole like zombie angle.
Oh, yes.
That, like, not
the
violent,
undead. The undead.
Not violent, can't die. I'm just going to sit here rotting away. Yeah.
It sucks. Kill yourself, please.
I look back. Can you end my existence by ending yours? That would be great.
That'd be
Thanks.
great.
I'm just going to sit here and watch
if
porn
you're
with my face falling off.
If you were a real pal.
As he itches his nose.
I know.
I'm sitting here watching this and I'm like...
great. So, funnily enough, in that scene, Griffin Dunn was actually really threatened by the puppet because it's a third of his character. It's a third of his on-screen time is the puppet. So what they ended up letting him do was he was the one actually manipulating and controlling the puppet.
I honestly didn't know if it was a puppet or if it was just really intense makeup.
No, it's a puppet.
Okay.
So the final when he is literally
In the theater.
bones in the porno theater is a puppet. But I thought it was really cool that because he was threatened, they let him be the puppet, which I thought was kind of funny.
His makeup is amazing. Especially the initial one.
Oh, so
with all the gore
and the little flappy,
the flappy skin.
Which that was just a happy accident.
Yeah.
The reason why it's flapping is because they had just like done all the blood and everything.
Spirit gum didn't stick?
No. They had just done all of the like wetting spray, everything for the film. And it was a happy accident that there just was a little bit too much on that. And it was just blah, 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 blah.
No,
but
it was
everybody
really
was like,
cool looking.
oh my gosh. But the makeup was so gnarly.
Yeah.
That everybody on set while they were filming, like they couldn't look at him.
Out.
They couldn't look at him. They're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And Griffin Dunn actually became super duper depressed. Oh yeah, because
nobody would pay attention.
No. Actually, he was like freaking out. He's like, my mom could never see me like this. He actually it was so disturbingly good done that he's like, this is what I would look like if I was dead.
Yeah.
It fucked with his mind.
Interesting.
It really shook him like a lot because like Rick Baker was putting on the makeup one day and he could just feel Griffin just sliding further and further into the makeup chair.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, are you? And he's like, was like, just kind of like let it out. Like he's like this and da-da-da-da. And so, like he had to talk to Landis, everything. And luckily he did come out of it, obviously, the more that he got into having to have it on and stuff. And he came around about it. But it initially, because it was so realistic, it messed him up.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I keep thinking about the Paris one with the girl and she sneezes and her eyeball pops out of her face. And then they show her eye, like her view, and she's looking at her tits and her eyes just dangling. I'm like, this movie's so stupid. But the makeup's fun.
Yeah. And you know what? Some good makeup can make even a stupid one good.
Yes.
See, I was kind of hoping that we would see him again as just a talking skeleton.
I know.
He's right there.
Yep, there he is. How you doing?
Hey,
because like the way that you see
Griffin's
him
at the bar,
constantly deteriorating. My brain
very
is like,
fast, by the way.
Yeah,
It's within 1 month, and he is nothing,
rotting away.
And he's like, "There's more than just me here. There's a lot more people." And I'm sitting here like, so what if somebody who's trapped in limbo that can't get out is just chilling there? Are you just talking to a skeleton right now?
Eventually,
because like he's like, how do you know what it's like to talk to a corpse? And I'm sitting here like, I bet you talk to bones all the time. There's a difference.
That's funny. No, I think, eventually they have to be a skeleton. There won't be any flesh there. Mm-hmm. So, another one would be, and we kind of touched on, Jenny Agutter, who plays Nurse Alex Price.
Yeah.
And she be a whore. She be a whore so bad.
She's just fucking retarded.
She is dumb bitch. She's
David! She's talking to the wolf at the end. David! Are you in? No, he's not fucking in there, bitch. He is dead.
No, I love that he's like, I just talked to my dead best friend. And she's like, okay. Because are you fucking serious right now?
She was retarded.
Can you watch out for signs of mental decline? I just talked to my best friend. He tells me I'm a werewolf. Sounds awesome. Let's fuck in the shower.
I think she was actually an orderly. They just gave a nurse's outfit. She was retarded. She did not go to any sort of nurse training.
No. It was just
stupid
bad.
Woman.
She's a hot mess. She was a hot mess. And then you have John Woodvine, who plays Dr. J.S. Hirsch, so Dr. Hirsch is the voice of reason throughout all this. He's the one actually like, is he having mental decline? And stupid bitch is like, no, it's fine.
He's fine. Everybody's fine.
He woke up in the zoo. It's fine. Like,
he's a dumpster fire walking on 2 feet. It's fine.
Until the full moon comes out, then he's crawling up 4 legs. And then I did like Frank Oz as his little cameo. He's in. So Frank
I was trying to pinpoint him.
Mr. Collins. He's the ambassador for the U.S.
Oh, that was him?
That's Frank Oz.
I don't think I've ever seen him in person before.
Really? You can hear Yoda when he speaks.
See, I was like, God, his voice is annoying. Now I know why.
Oh my goodness, funny. That's too funny.
I was like, God.
And then you kind of have these two beatnik cops. You have Inspector Villiers, or however you pronounce it, and Sergeant McManus, played by Don McKillop and Paul Kember. And they're as useful as an asshole on your elbow. They're just
the other guy was trying at least.
The sergeant was trying so hard, and the inspector's like, no, I don't care what you say,
Which
peon.
is why when he gets killed, you're like, yay.
Yay, his head gets ripped off. Woo! Props, happy. Oh, dude. The fun of the kills in this, and the body count in this film is total 16.
So
this is actually one of those.
Is that including the car accident?
Yes.
Because there were so many in the car.
There were so many.
Awesome.
There were so many, and one of them. So when the one guy gets hit by the car and into the plate glass window, that is John Landis.
Oh, that's funny.
He cameoed, and so I found that out, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then as watching it, I was
thrown
like,
from a car and then run over by a car.
Well, funnily enough, the reason he wanted to do it, he used to be a stuntman before he became a writer and director. So found out all really, really cool things. But yes, I was literally keeping a running tally. And as I saw each corpse, and I'm like, that one got hit by a car, that one got its head rolled over, that one got ejected.
That was my favorite. The guy whose head popped like a fucking melon.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. So if I'm not mistaken, please don't, string me up, listeners, but I'm fairly certain it's 16.
I feel like it's got to be more.
No, it was. Like, I was like, I was really watching it. But it still, at 16, puts it at one of the higher body counts for a horror movie.
For that time period?
Well, no, in general.
Interesting.
In general, because think about even like Jason Voorhees in an average film, he maybe gets, 8 kills? 8 kills under his belt? Roundabout? Freddy gets 1 if it's, depending on if it has multiple people involved.
A couple more.
Well, if you have more than one person involved. Yeah, like 2 or 3, because they spread the fear in the small group. But yeah.
Sorry to correct you, it's actually 27 deaths.
I was going to say, I was just looking it up too.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Damn, there were way many that I missed in the car scene then.
I think it's the car accident.
Yeah, there were so many happening.
Yeah.
Well, also there's 4 men that were killed by him after he changed, but you also got to count the people that the nightmare werewolves killed.
Oh, those
don't
count. No. I'm talking about.
They do count.
No. Well, yeah.
If you're counting people getting killed in
I meant by the werewolf situation, and the chaos ensued by the werewolf. That's what I meant. Not,
I
not
wouldn't
in
count dream kills.
I didn't.
That was a hallucination kill.
I'm just reading what came up on the actual
which that would
kill
be
count.
That would actually have been the brother, the sister, the dad, the mom, and Nurse Alex. So that's another 5. But you know what? I've only missed 1 because I was at 16. If we include the dream kills, that's 21. So there's 1 more in there that I may have missed in the car scene. Not bad. Not bad, figuring I stood or sat and watched it.
6 people died in the car accidents.
Okay, which
it seems like it should be more.
It was a lot. It was so sudden, but it was so great. Just because, again, it's that paramount of chaos. I mean, that was a hell of a climax of a scene. Whoa, what's going on with you?
So I'm reading this, and because I'm looking at the kills and who died for what, and it's like number 27 is David Kessler. I swear it said boobies. It's bobbies.
Yes! We got the same thing.
I was like, no, he died by boobies? Like it was in a porn movie? And I was like, no, it's bobbies. Okay, it's the police. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's an unfortunate name for the police.
Here come the boobies.
Here come the boobies.
Dead by bobbies.
Here come the boobies. Oh my goodness. And then of course.
And how did they not shoot her? They're not that dead on accurate. She was standing 2 feet from the thing.
Yeah, no.
And they shot the bullets ricocheted
around her.
Movie
went around.
To get all sides of him.
Literally.
Stupid.
Your rubber bullets.
Yeah, they're tracker bullets.
Pew, pew. So, and then of course, in the Slaughtered Lamb, there's Brian Glover, who is the chess player, who basically tries to discourage word of mouth about the werewolf situation. Sweet Jesus, what?
So apparently, David was not circumcised, so they had to avoid full frontals to make
so they
sure
didn't
that
contradict
they didn't,
their-
so that they
their
couldn't
joke?
contradict themselves.
That's fucking amazing.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Why not just drop the line? Honestly, why not just drop the line?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm personally okay with not having a close up to tell.
No, I'm good.
So I'm fine.
I'm good.
It's
Leave
just
that one to
a
the imagination.
funny detail that they could only view it from the side so that you couldn't
So you
tell,
couldn't tell.
that it wasn't
circumcised?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
my
didn't.
Lord.
It didn't have a turtleneck. I don't know.
We don't want to lie about you having a sweater. Sorry. And then, of course, there's David Schofield, who was the Dark player, which I know and I picked up right away was from Hell, because that was the last movie, or the most recent film I've seen him in. He's also in Pirates of the Caribbean as one of the English, what are they called?
Oh, I know. He was in Gladiator.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't
one of the
remember
senators in Gladiator.
Oh, okay. So, like, yeah. And then Brian Glover, of course, Ron picked out from Alien 3, because he is basically like the head boss guy in the
prison
compound that Ripley's in. All right. So that's cast and crew. And there of course are other like smaller roles, but those are the heavy hitters. The main two being, of course, Jack and David. So the synopsis for American Werewolf in London is that you've got these, they say college kids, but basically these two guys that are backpacking across Europe, and they are up in the Wales part of England, where apparently there is a werewolf that has been running amok. And they come up.
They're just fine with it.
Yeah, like they're like, he goes out there, we stay in the pub, it's fine. Like, we just don't go out when it's a full moon, it's totally fine. He heals a couple sheep, it's good. So they end up coming to the Slaughtered Lamb, which I absolutely told Ron if he could find me a t-shirt of that, I would totally wear it because it's amazing. Where they go in and are immediately, like, the bar goes quiet because they're outsiders. You know, everybody's like, what the fuck are they doing here? And, you know, it is a night of the full moon. And so they go in, and immediately Jack notices on the wall the pentagram, or pentangle as he calls it, but the pentagram that's on the wall, and inquires as to why it's there. And they give him, you know, they don't really go into it. They're just kind of like trying to skirt the issue. Essentially, they don't want to.
Well, as soon as they ask about it, they throw him out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no,
Yeah.
they were all
Yeah.
fine with him until they asked about the thing,
You
and then they're like,
made
"No,
it-
you have to go."
Yeah, the dartboard guy. He's like, "You made me miss. I never missed that board." And they're like, we gotta get the fuck out of Dodge. But before they do, they of course leave them with the warnings of beware of the moon, stick to the roads, and keep clear of the moors.
Which, how big of an idiot?
Which
are
they do
these
none
guys?
of them.
Because, like, okay, first of all, you two idiots are like aimlessly backpacking through Europe. Fine. But then you're just gonna think that you're gonna be okay. You'd like, I don't know. Like, you don't seem very well supplied to just be walking off road in somewhere you have never been.
And not even that, these dumb shits somehow get off of a straight fucking trail.
Yeah,
Like, how
because
does
they
that
start
veer off of a fucking
Yeah.
straight trail.
So I do have
They're
a clip
stupid.
that I want to play because it is exactly that. So let's go ahead.
Did you hear that?
I heard that.
What was it?
Could be a lot of things.
Yeah?
A coyote.
There aren't any coyotes in England.
The coyote.
The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Pecos Bill?
Heathcliff.
Heathcliff didn't howl.
No, but he was on the moors.
It's a full moon.
Beware the moon and stick to the road. Oops.
Y'all deserve to die.
The most
I vote we go back to the Slaughtered Lamb.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
We're lost.
Oh, shit, David. What is that?
I don't know. Come on.
Come on, where?
Anywhere. I think we should just keep moving.
So the werewolf howl was actually a mixture of 7 different animals intermixed.
It's like
to
shooting.
make it.
Circling us.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
What's the plan?
Plan?
Let's just keep walking. That's right. A lovely stroll on the moors. Tra-la-la-la-la. Isn't this fun? It's in front of us.
You think it's a dog?
What kind of fucking dog is that?
Bear
It's a
pig.
sheepdog or something. Come on, turn slowly. Let's walk away.
Nice doggy. Good boy.
Come on, Jack. Walk away.
Walking away, yes. Here we are, walking away.
You see anything? No. Sounds far away.
These idiots didn't even bring a
Come
fucking
on.
flashlight. Come on.
What? Where are we going?
I don't know. I'll tell you when we get there.
Okay, because... Oh!
You really scared me, you shithead. You gonna help me up or what?
And then
I
immediately
love how he's
ditches
like,
his
fuck
friend.
it, I'm out.
Yeah, he's booking it. He's like, bye, friend.
Like you just asked him to help you up, and now you want to
Poor,
ditch his ass.
poor Jack is like, help me. And he's like, nope.
Jack.
There's his conscience.
Oh, Jack.
After he's already been eaten alive.
Sad.
Just laying there bleeding out.
Jack.
All right. So, of course, that scene kind of shows a little bit of the dynamic of the two guys and that they're best friends doing this trip. And then, of course, it escalates to Jack getting slaughtered by the werewolf and eaten.
Because David's a douche.
And
Yep.
David's a douche. So, again, when this was being filmed and that scene came up, this was kind of interesting. So, Rick Baker made several different werewolf heads for the different scenes. So some had hard fangs for like doing damage and bites and things like that. This one, however, was a brand new, like they had just finished it. These heads took like, you're talking like 6 months of production for some of these heads. And this one, like Rick Baker's like, hey, look, I'm gonna rip you up, but this werewolf head, it's actually very delicate. It's kind of fragile. Like, please don't beat the shit out of it. And fucking Griffin, like he starts losing his mind, acting like he's dying, and he rips it off. He rips the whole fucking face of the werewolf off of like the skull. And like Rick Baker's like, really? Like, seriously? So, and then an interview when he was talking about this, and you know, Griffin was kind of a douche. He's like, hey, it's acting. Brr, brr.
If it was acting, he would have acted like he ripped his head off and not actually ripped it off.
So what ended up happening was Rick Baker instead, he put the head back together, and he just beat the fuck out of Griffin from then on for that scene. Just beat the fuck out of him with the werewolf head. And he goes, maybe, and my favorite quote when I was watching it is he goes, maybe I should have put in the hard teeth.
Yeah.
But with that scene again, Griffin, Jack doesn't have a lot of screen time. He really doesn't. You see him in the beginning, you see him as he rots, and then that's it. Like, it's not a super long movie. So during that scene when Griffin is acting, and he did so well that he actually sent chills up several of the other people's, like the costume designers and the special effect artists, like assistants, because it's middle of the night. It was freezing rain. The rain that they're walking in was done with rain pipes. The rain pipes were so cold because of it being so cold at night. They had to wrap the rain pipes in hot water bottles to keep them flowing. When they were done filming, and I mean, these guys are just wearing parkas and backpacks. Like, that's it. Freaking Landis, everybody's in head to toe, like winter gear. They were so cold by the end of the shoot that they go up and they would like touch them and their parkas would just crunch, and they had chunks of ice in their hair. They were literally freezing to death, which made me feel super bad for the elder gentleman who played not murdered. To me, he's murdered. The murdered werewolf at the beginning, the old man that you see lying naked.
I couldn't even tell he was an old man.
Oh, really? Yeah, he was an old dude. I mean, it's a quick scene when you see the dead werewolf, and of course he's changed back to a human at that point. It was again so cold you just see steam rising off of the body, which worked great for the film. Felt terrible for the poor guy laying in the fucking field freezing his balls off, but looked great on film.
No, it does. It makes for a good transformation.
It did. It really, really did. So then what ends up happening, of course, is the townspeople at the slaughtered lamb basically tell Scotland Yard that, they were attacked by a deranged lunatic and there were witnesses and we shot him. And Scotland Yard's like, okay, cool. Sounds great. Like, this inspector and the sergeant are like, awesome.
Like, with all that going on, why did they really need to talk to David? Because they didn't listen to anything he said anyway.
Yeah. We're just going to tell you that we don't care about your testimony. It's cool. It's not a wolf. We don't care if you said it was a wolf.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care if you have a hand by hand. We don't care if your memory's functioning. We were told this. And honestly, it was to propel the story. And I did find it interesting that, of course, David wakes up 3 weeks later, right before the full moon. And then he gets his first visit from Jack as the undead.
Right.
And I am going to now let us hear Jack's conversation with David.
Can I have a piece of toast?
Get the fuck out of here, Jack.
Thanks a lot.
I can't take this. Am I asleep now, awake, or what?
I realize I don't look so hot, David. But I thought you'd be glad to see me. David, you're hurting my feelings.
Hurting your feelings? Has it occurred to you that it might be unsettling to see you rise from the grave to visit me?
Sorry to be upsetting you, David, but I had to come.
Aren't you supposed to be buried someplace in New York?
Yeah. Your parents came to my funeral. I was surprised at how many people came.
Now, why should you be surprised? You were a very well-liked person.
Yeah, I was, wasn't I?
Well, I liked you.
Debbie Klein cried a lot.
Oh, God. Am I asleep now or what?
So you know what she does? She's so grief-stricken. She runs to find solace in Mark Levine's bed.
Mark Levine?
An asshole. Life mocks me even in death.
I'm going completely
I
crazy.
like that line. I don't know why it makes me laugh.
David!
What?
Now, I'm really sorry to be upsetting you, but I have to warn you.
Warn me?
We were attacked by a werewolf.
I'm not listening to this.
On the moors. We were attacked by a lycanthrope, a werewolf. I was murdered, an unnatural death. And now I walk the earth in limbo until the werewolf's curse is lifted.
Shut up.
The wolf's bloodline must be severed. The last remaining werewolf must be destroyed. It's you, David.
What?
Please believe me. You'll kill people.
Nurse!
Listen to me!
Nurse!
The supernatural, the power of darkness, it's all true. The undead surround me. Have you ever talked to a corpse? It's boring. I'm lonely. Take your life, David. Kill yourself before you kill others. Please don't cry.
All right, so there we have Jack kind of breaking down the nitty gritty of the curse of the werewolf. And of course, you have David not believing it, obviously. Even though, you know, he has no other explanation for his current situation.
Yeah.
And then literally fucking Whore McWhorepants nurse Alex comes in and he like fucking kisses her. I was like, what is going on? What are you doing? Like, you're sitting here sobbing, having a mental breakdown because you're talking to a zombie, and then this chick comes in and you just lay one on her. Like, what is that?
The only thing I can think of is to, like, because he feels like he's hallucinating, is to try to connect
see if it's real. Like,
yeah,
ground himself.
That's literally the only thing I can think of. It was still stupid, but I mean, it just
well, obviously it worked because bitch fucking fucked him. So I mean,
oh Lord,
that was the kiss that sealed the deal. Maybe. I'm gonna take you home now.
Yeah. Do you have a place to stay?
Oh dear Lord, she is a hot mess in this movie. Dear goodness. Yeah. No, she's a mess. She's a mess. So what ends up happening is David doesn't fucking listen and ends up turning into a werewolf. He goes through and he has this horrible, painful, this amazing transformation scene.
Yeah.
Where again we get to see Rick Baker in like his glory.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean, he again had these werewolf heads that he had rigged with all of these different plunger systems and apparatuses and balloons and everything, just so they would bulge and break and come out and all of these things to make it stretch the face and form it into a snout from a human face. Like all of this amazing special effects, all practical. Which
it was really
awesome.
good because you could see when it was the puppet and the wolf, you could still kind of see how it looked like David, like the actor.
Yes.
So it was very cool.
Yes. And, one of the interesting things was when they did, so you see him, his hands stretch and you see his legs, stretch into like dog, wolf hindquarters, all of these things. You see him getting covered in hair. So in order to achieve these, they actually filmed it out of sync.
Yeah.
And they started with David, the hairiest, and then went backwards. Because and to do like the effects, they would push hair through and then they would pull it back and then they ran it backwards to make it look like it was growing. And as I was finding out all of these different things and how they did it, it was really cool because they wanted to get away from what they called a fade shot, which is what they do in the original 1941 Wolfman and any of the earlier Wolfman movies, where it's just putting basically filters upon filters over the person, then replacing it with the prosthetics and everything else. So it was super duper cool to just to see all of that, and I mean just to see the physical pain, because again, prior to American Werewolf in London, none of the transformations were painful for these men becoming wolfmen. They would just become the werewolves and bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Right.
So it was, I think, really smart of Landis to, basically make it, he's burning up, all of those things. Because now when you see a werewolf movie, you see they're hot, it's not a comfortable transformation, all of these things.
A canine runs at a hotter temperature than a human anyway.
Yep.
So they're basically on a normal temperature. They're running at a human's fever temperature.
Yes.
So that's why you're burning up, plus all the actual chemical changes that are going on in your body.
In metabolic.
But seeing the actual a non-painful transition for any werewolf, and you're like, okay, well, it's just your natural whatever transition. But then you're seeing it has to hurt. It physically has to hurt. All of your bones are reforming.
Yeah, and they're breaking, they're stretching, there's muscles tearing.
You're going through the world's worst growth spurt. It has to hurt.
Yeah. And it's caught so well on this. I mean, just like the way they did the musculature of the back, the spinal cord coming up. It is impressive. And then to get to the full-size puppet is just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just
He was so
amazing.
fat.
He's so fluffy. So fluffy.
Such a fat wolf. That dude ate too much. And he had skinny legs. It was a weird proportions.
Skipped leg day.
Yeah, he did. It was just all body.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. So he goes through, he ends up killing at least 6 people on his first night of being a werewolf.
He was busy.
Yeah, he's a busy werewolf. He was a busy boy. And so we get to see Jack, he pops in, again to ask David to please kill himself so that, he can be at rest and everything else before he kills. Doesn't listen. David goes out, murders 6 people, and then realizes he's trying to turn himself into freaking a Bobby, and he's like, arrest me, and he's trying to tear down London, and fucking Alex is just like, no, you're fine. She was such a rag in this movie.
She's an idiot.
She's so annoying. And I didn't
He
remember.
should have killed her.
I know. He should have just ripped her throat out.
He was going to, but then he got shot.
I know.
Yeah,
Could have done us all a
too
favor.
long.
Could have done us all a favor.
I love you.
Oh my goodness, she was annoying. Not a fan.
It was dumb to throw a love story in this movie.
It was. It was.
It was unnecessary.
I'm not gonna lie.
Like it was
mean,
just pointless. It didn't humanize him. It
No.
made both of them look retarded.
Yeah.
Like
it's
just not good.
Not
No.
how you do it. Not how you do it.
No.
Just enjoy a good werewolf story.
Yeah.
And but it's excuse me. But essentially, yes. So he goes on this killing spree, and then we see Jack come to him again, and he's even more decomposed.
Mm-hmm. All
And
green.
and he's all green, and he's got like half of his face is now skull, and he welcomes him into a porno theater, which is funnily enough. So that porno theater is in Piccadilly Circus in London. And originally, when they scouted the location, it showed like cartoons. It was a cartoon theater, so like Looney Tunes, things like that. So when they came back, like several years later, to actually film, it hadn't turned into a smut theater. It turned into a porno theater. So now Landis was like, okay, I guess we're going to shoot it here. Let's make a porno movie for this movie just to be ridiculous. And it was, again, touching into the
$10 million
roots.
budget. They could have paid for a couple of clips of a pre-made porn movie.
Nope.
They did
They
not
made
have
their
to
own.
write a porn
They
movie
made their own.
and film a
Oh,
porn
my goodness.
movie and just to have it in the background.
So
you
for
fucking
one
perv.
of the outtakes, you actually see Landis, and he's sitting in front of this little makeshift like half house thing, and next thing you know is the house set falls, and like you just see the porn people fucking in the background, and it was an outtake, and I'm just like, that just didn't need to happen.
No.
And like, but he wanted he wanted that comedic element. So this movie has been described as it's a horror movie. It shouldn't be funny. And it's funny. It shouldn't be a horror movie.
Yeah.
So it is met with a lot of mixed reviews.
Well, when people went to go see this, they were expecting a comedy, and then they were like, the people who weren't like don't watch horror, and they like ran out of the theater.
Yeah, this is not Animal House. This is not Blues Brothers. Normally it's feel good.
Which
This
they
is not
wanted the
okay.
Blues Brothers in this movie. Did you know that?
I did not.
They
As a
wanted
cameo?
they wanted John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd to be the main actors.
Are you serious?
But
oh my
Landis
gosh,
was like, no.
An American Blues Brothers werewolf in London. That would be kind of fantastic. Or on a mission from God.
Yeah.
So that would have been fantastic. So they're going to the porno theater.
Yeah.
And Jack basically again pleads to David, and we have that here. So much
70s porn music.
There's so much
Thank
moaning
you.
in the scene.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't even know if it was me that killed those people last night. I don't remember doing it.
I just woke up in a wolf cage.
What about the zoo? Well, even if I'm not the wolf man, I'm crazy enough to do something like that. I mean, look at me. Here I sit in a porno theater in Piccadilly Circus talking to a corpse. I'm actually
That's why we
glad
need
to
to
see
be our
you, Jack.
$2.99 a minute Patreon content.
I want you to meet some people. David Kessler, this is Gerald Bringsley. Gerald's the man you murdered on the subway. We thought it best for you not to see him, as he's a fresh kill and still pretty messy.
Yes.
That moaning is so loud.
Why are you doing this to
My
me?
ears feel
This
dirty.
isn't Mr. Goodman's idea.
Dirty birdie.
He's your good friend, whereas I am a victim of your carnivorous lunar activities.
So British. Just the way he sounds.
Bringsley,
He deserved to die too.
I'm sorry. I have absolutely no idea what to say to you.
You've left my wife a widow, and my children fatherless. And I understand I am to walk the earth in limbo, one of the living dead, until the wolf's bloodline is severed and the curse lifted. You must die, David Kessler.
His witchy poo finger.
David, this is Harry Berman
These two made
and
me
his
laugh.
fiancée, Judith Brown.
Hey!
Hello.
Hello.
And these gentlemen are Alf
Ted.
They could not be
and
less
Chelsea.
affected by the fact that they're dead.
Can't say we're pleased to meet you, Mr. Kessler.
The homeless guys are more pissed than the
You
couple
must take your
who
own life.
kissed weird.
It's easy for you to say you're already dead.
No, David. Harry and I and everyone you murder are not dead. The undead.
Why are you doing this to me?
Because this must be stopped.
So much panting.
How shall I do it?
Sleeping pills?
Not sure enough. I could hang myself.
No. No, if you did it wrong, it could be painful. You'd choke to death.
So what? Let him choke.
Do you mind? The man's a friend of mine.
Well, he ain't no friend to me.
Gentlemen, please. A gun!
I know where you can get a gun. Don't I need a silver bullet or something?
Oh, be serious, would you?
Madness.
Oh, a gun would be good.
You just put the gun to your forehead and pull the trigger.
Be serious.
You put it in your mouth, you'd be sure not to miss.
Thank you. You're all so thoughtful.
What does he use? A fucking Swiss Army knife, you douche.
Crash.
You could throw yourself in
A
front
dull
of a cube.
ass
Drowning.
little boy's
Yeah.
Swiss Army knife.
No, he wasn't serious about it. Well, I mean, and here's the thing. So I'm curious what your thoughts are about that scene. Like, honestly, where you have these corpses asking, like, basically, how are you going to off yourself?
Yeah.
How did that sit with you?
It was fine. I thought they should have done more to do it.
Facilitated it more.
Terrible. He was a terrible person. And
He is super selfish.
It's just annoying as a character. But I loved how they approached it, how basically your victims come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
No, I think it was a great.
Yeah, I think
great
all
concept.
serial killers should have their victims haunt them. I think that should be a rule.
Fair enough. Holy shit. Bundy would have like a fucking concert following him. It'd be bananas.
I immediately went to Dahmer.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a lot too.
Just body parts.
No, I was thinking about the one guy that he poured the acid in the hole in the brain.
Oh, he lobotomized.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
would
got to
just-
go with Jack the Ripper being chased by gutted horse.
Oh, dude, you imagine using the lower intestine as a fucking lasso to bring his ass back to you?
Problem is that I still don't know who he was.
There's a theory that it's a she.
Really? I've never heard that theory.
There's a theory that it was a woman killing fellow prostitutes because she thought they weren't supposed to be on the streets. Like, I'd have to look it up to find, the exact details, but it was a theory that it could have been a woman.
Interesting. And now let's take a word from The Den.
The Deluxe Edition Network, also known as The Den, is an incredible podcast network that offers a wide variety of entertaining and informative podcasts.
With a lineup of shows covering various topics, such as interviews with a wide variety of guests, history, music, relationships, true crime, and so much more. The Den provides content that caters to a diverse range of interests.
The hosts and guests on the Deluxe Edition Network demonstrate a deep passion and expertise in their respective fields, making each episode on each show engaging and thought-provoking.
The network fosters a sense of community by encouraging listeners to interact through live chats, social media, and forums, creating an inclusive environment for discussion and sharing opinions.
With its commitment to high-quality production, the shows in the Deluxe Edition Network continue to captivate and entertain its ever-growing audience.
Whether you're a podcast enthusiast or someone looking to explore new topics, The Den is a fantastic platform to dive into and uncover fascinating insights from experts in their fields.
The Deluxe Edition Network is the home of independent awesomeness.
Talk about the...
Yes. So Mouse wanted to talk about the pentagram.
Yes.
Yes, please.
So it actually is a pentagram on the wall. For it to be a pentacle, it has to be in a circle.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way.
A pentacle is encircled because it's got the CL at the end. A pentacle. And
Circle.
The pentagram is just like an actual...
triangle. Interesting.
And there is a very big difference between the way that the star is drawn. If the star is drawn with the main point at the top, that is a Wiccan symbol.
I was going to say it's good.
Yes, and that's also been adopted by Christians in the past and stuff like that to display the perfectionism of God's creation, the head, 2 arms, and legs.
Mhm.
And Wiccans now have the spirit, air, earth, fire, water.
The elements, yeah.
And
But if it's inverted, it's
Yes.
satanic.
And I actually, for us, because I did think, it's because it's a goat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it's...
Because goats are bad.
I wasn't expecting that at all. But yes. It's really weird because the reason I wanted to say something about it is because there's a lot of times that people will see the standard triangle with the point upwards, and they're like, oh, that's satanic. I'm like, no, it's not.
No.
And actually, it's really funny. I didn't know this, but the pentacle and pentagram is actually acknowledged by the United States government to be put on headstones.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
Yep.
Interesting.
I'm like, I didn't know that. That's nifty as shit.
All right. I mean, if it's a religious symbol for people, I mean, that would make sense.
Yeah, but like the fact that it's recognized enough to be allowed to put on the headstone, whereas like there's some that aren't.
Yeah.
Like if Chase wanted a Norse symbol on his headstone, I'm pretty sure he'd have to fight for it, kind of deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
That is cool. Thank you, Crystal, for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, that's a great segue, because here's the thing of where the pentagram and werewolf came together. So it is full Hollywood, werewolves and pentagrams or pentacles. They are not affiliated. It was from 1941's Wolfman, because they would actually see the symbol of the pentagram on the next victim of the Wolfman, and that's how they knew. So yeah, so it was from 1941's. There, I tried to look. I researched a lot because I was curious. I was honestly curious if that was a thing.
Yeah,
it's not. Where the original idea came for it for the 1941 was actually by, I believe it was one of the screenwriters, who was he was a Jew, and he was in Germany when Hitler started reigning in Germany in 1933. And he described the German neighbors that he knew basically be shifting into this feral, like they would become abusive and attack him and everything else because it was Hitler's Germany. And so that change, and then, of course, Jews were marked with the Star of David. And so the star, and so that's kind of where that idea came from for the 1941 Wolfman. So I thought that was kind of cool, and to see it, of course, brought into nowadays, or 1981 at least, was kind of interesting. So that being said, I want to talk about werewolves. Because
you don't say. You don't like them at all.
I love me some werewolves. So I thought this would be cool. I am going to cite that this was provided by the History Channel webpage, thingamajobber, the internets, because I want to cite the source, obviously. But I thought it was interesting because I think there are a lot of different werewolf mythology stories. I'm curious which one you're most familiar with now, and you as well, Crystal. As far as like werewolves, where werewolves come from.
The origins?
The origin.
I actually have no clue.
Really?
I have no idea where the origin of a werewolf or the first.
I know the Greek version.
Okay, let me see where you are.
There was a I think his name was Lyothan or something like that.
Lycan.
No, basically that, but it's not the actual word.
Yeah,
Lycan. But his family offended the gods by feeding him a sacrifice of a boy that was literally just sacrificed. So he cursed them all to be
Zeus. Yep,
wolves.
That's exactly it. He cursed the whole family. And yes, that is the Greek origin. Very nicely done, Mouse. Yay. That is the second. The first one was actually thought to be in the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is the olden Western prose, when Gilgamesh jilted a potential lover because she had turned her previous mate into a wolf. That is where the transformation from human to wolf started to come from.
So it's very old.
Very old, very old. There also are some in Nordic folklore as well. The most notorious being the saga of the Volsungs, which is a story of a father and son who found wolf pelts that would turn them into wolves for 10 days. And during those 10 days, guess what they decided to do? Go on a killing spree. So what ended up happening actually was how that ended was the father attacked the son as a wolf and fatally wounded him. But luckily, I put this in here for Crystal because I think she'll think it's really cute. A kind raven actually gave a medicinal leaf that cured the wound of the son, which is how he survives. So again, it's Nordic folklore, and I thought that was really, really interesting. So those are 1, 2, and 3 as far as mythologies where the origins of a werewolf come from. The next one would actually fall under serial killers, were thought of being the origin of werewolves, most notoriously French. So there were 3 and the most notorious I'll get to at the end, but there were at least 3. Their names were Pierre Bergot and Michel Verdun. They apparently allegedly swore allegiance to Satan and claimed to have an ointment that would turn them into a wolf, and then they would go and slaughter children. And they were actually burned at the stake. Literally, they were executed and burned at the stake because that was believed to be a way to kill the werewolves. So that's another one. And then the next is going to be another. He was known as the Werewolf of Dole, and that's Giles Garnier. He was in 16th century. He had the ointment, turned into a wolf, would kill children and eat them. He was also burned at the stake. Lots of burning at the stake.
Yeah.
And this is, so one of the things is, everyone's very familiar with Salem witch trials. These werewolf trials were happening a couple 100 years before this witch trials here in America. So, it was really interesting. But the most notorious would be Peter Stube. He became known as the werewolf of Bedburg, Bedburg. So in Bedburg, Germany, basically, he would turn into a wolf-like creature and devour people. Mostly, men, women, children, according to people who said that they saw him, that he had a belt that he wore that would enable him to turn into a wolf, that this was witnessed. But what ended up happening was he was tortured into giving a
confession.
Thank you. That's it. He was tortured into giving a confession. And how they tortured him was absolutely terrible. So they tortured him.
Torture in general.
Yeah. They tortured him, but then to make him an example, what they ended up doing was they strapped him to a cartwheel. They removed his skin with hot pincers. And then they removed his head, put it on a stake of a wolf head, and then put it out as a warning for basically devil worshippers.
Interesting.
Yes. So, it was very, very interesting to find out all of this. And of course, these real werewolf trials, I'm using air quotes, I know those radio, so air quotes, werewolf trials, they propel just this terrifying fear of wolves and werewolves that, now you can't go anywhere in any culture and not have some variation of shapeshifters or werewolves and some people, it's not even werewolves. It may be the prominent predator. So there'll be were-bears or were-tigers. So it was just fascinating how this concept of lycanthropy was applied worldwide. So now, of course, we've all heard of the curse of the werewolf. Again, this was all Hollywood. Came from the Wolfman. The very popular, by a man who says his prayer by nights will become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms at next harvest moon or something like that. I can't remember the exact verbiage, but they thought it was a legit gypsy curse. It's not. It was made for Hollywood. But again, it was just amazing how that little nugget got then propelled into such a worldwide fear.
Yeah.
This film, this genre of horror is just as iconic, I feel, as vampires, as, zombies, mummies, Frankenstein's monster. This is an amazing.
There are so many different iterations of werewolves.
Yes.
And they're all so different because some they're all bad, some it's good and bad. It's so fun to see the different that some you retain your consciousness, some you don't.
Yep, and others
it's really fun to see the different variations.
Yeah, which now brings me. So that was our little history lesson. Thank you for listening.
Sorry, real fast. I did some Googling. You were talking about Germany. Yeah. So actually, there's one that I read, and I think it's fake. But there was this thing, an old English folk myth that if you were somebody that loved the werewolf and you called them by their name, they could turn back. But there's also another one that if you threw their clothes at them, they would turn back into a person.
Interesting.
And the person that posted it was talking about, I'm just imagining a little old grandma waddling out in the middle of the night, get the fuck back here, and throwing clothes at the werewolf. So it's a combination of somebody they love and
that's
clothes.
Why they had clothes hanging out on clothes strings, so they could just dress the werewolves really quickly and change them back.
Is that why?
Yeah, run out of the house.
It's easy access to the clothes. That's why they're outside.
Just catapult the boxers out.
Yeah. That's why. That's the origin of clothesline.
That's where it came from.
But trying to figure out if that was real or not, I stumbled upon in the German lowlands, a werewolf could be cured if one were to simply address it 3 times by its Christian name, or one Danish belief holds that merely scolding it will cure it.
Interesting.
I mean,
it's an unruly child.
It's like a child. I was gonna say it's like a child.
So either Beetlejuice or
You
Hot
middle
Oil.
name it 3 times, and then it takes you seriously.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. No, that is. Thank you, Mouse. That is really cool. I do have here some other reasons that people believe in lycanthropy is an actual thing. It is a very, very rare mental psychiatric condition where people actually believe they change into wolves, but it's very, very rare. Yes,
that's
less rare nowadays.
Zoonopathy. There's two. There's the what you said with
lycanthropy.
Yes, and then there is zoan. Those are
Okay.
people that they believe that they turn into it. The first one, the L word, because I can't say it, I'll butcher it.
Lycanthropy.
They actually have a event that causes them to break down, and they do terrible shit, and that's what gets them that actual title, not the other one.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, no, I'm a bear. And it's like they really believe that
nowadays
shit.
it's just called a furry.
Yeah. But there's like legit people who actually think that when they go to sleep, they turn into another animal, and that's the Z one.
Interesting.
The L is usually associated with like dissociative identity disorder, schizophrenia, stuff like that.
There's an actual break somewhere.
Yes,
Gotcha.
a severe mental snap that what turns them into that, and that's what causes that. That's why it's super duper rare because nobody has that extreme of a break.
Yeah, but at least not
nowadays.
Not nowadays, or not that it's noted of.
Oh yeah.
So then there was, of course, lycanthropy and whichever, I can pronounce the one that you said now. And then food poisoning, hypertrichinosis, which is lots of hair growth, basically, rabies, and then hallucinations or taking hallucinogenic herbs. So tripping balls was another way that people be like, I'd be a werewolf. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys letting me do this film. It was super duper fun. The trivia, finding out about it, just all of it. And I love this movie. Despite the porno scene annoys me just because of the sheer amount of moaning in the background of that scene, which is absolutely obnoxious.
Yeah, listening to it's bad.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And the sex scene is awful. Yes, Ron, do you want to contribute something? You're over there raising your hand.
I just had to say, I was watching this with Sammy, and watching the sex scene in this movie, I was like, what? This is the worst sex scene I've ever fucking seen.
The Room was worse.
It's definitely not the worst.
The Room was worse.
It just didn't make any fucking sense to me at all. And also,
They like rubbing each other's backs.
Remember the thing
a
I
lot.
said about the
wolf babies. We already got into that.
Oh yeah,
We got into wolf babies. They must have used a condom.
They use them in the sequel as chewing gum. Such a stupid movie. Such a stupid movie.
The fact that Snow said sequel and you were talking about the babies and continuation, I hated the ending of this movie.
Why? Because it just ends?
Yeah.
I mean, the werewolf's dead.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but like.
But it's like just an abrupt, like right into the song, like
I know. Yeah,
like Ragnar and Ron and Stu and all them were talking about on their episode 7. The movie 7 was supposed to just black screen end, and like that's fucking retarded. This just black screen ended. It's fucking retarded. Like I expected at least something.
Something.
Yeah, like the doctor doing something, or like at least something beyond the black screen.
I think it's fun because it's just like abrupt. We're like, okay, we're done. Like that's it.
Like,
I do like
and
the
that's
music.
that's how I think it was ridiculous because she's like, I love you.
Yeah.
It's just keep it a werewolf story.
Yeah.
He's dead. And so there's nothing else to film.
I do. I think it makes it funny because it's kind of this awkward comedy horror movie. So ending it abruptly and awkwardly makes sense.
Well, the music also really helps because you've been watching a horror movie, then all of a sudden you've got beach music coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do love how they put the juxtaposition of Blue Moon over the transformation scene in this movie.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like nothing like heavy metal or anything crazy, nothing scored, just Sam Cooke's Blue Moon. We're going to just let that play in the background.
Really
It's
nice and
fun.
soft.
Nice and mellow.
Blue Moon.
I know exactly. I'm burning up.
And And he doesn't ease into his headache.
No.
It's like somebody's
he's like,
immediately
holy
ripping
crap
his
balls. She's like, holy dude, you suck at acting.
Yes.
Terrible.
Yes.
Sorry. Do you know what actually got him
As fun
in?
as this movie is, critically, it's pretty bad.
Oh, yes. No,
Except
and
for the special effects.
Do you know what got David Naughton into this, actually?
I don't know.
Him singing for Pepsi commercials. They were like, we want that guy.
Tracks. It tracks.
Oh my goodness. I do have to admit, I do like the Beavis Buttheadness that Jack and David have in it. I do like their dynamic. I like their little rapport when it goes back and forth. I personally, my favorite character is Jack. Do you have a favorite character in this?
Meh. I mean, Jack definitely is the highlight. He was funny.
Mm-hmm.
He was annoying when he was alive. He was funny when he was dead.
He was funnier when he's dead.
Yeah, I found him super annoying alive. I found everybody who's alive in this movie sucks. But I don't know. I found the dead people way more interesting.
The hospital director wasn't terrible.
Oh yeah, Hirsch.
The hospital director, he wasn't
Dr.
terrible.
Hirsch.
No,
Yeah.
he was fine.
He reminded me a lot of Dr. Loomis from Halloween.
A little bit.
Like that's the vibe I got from him. And then,
But he really should have slapped the nurse, and the fact that he didn't,
Yeah.
I'm like, and in the 80s he could have.
I
That's why I'm like he wouldn't have gotten fired for it or sued or blacklisted. Like you really should have slapped the bitch, and I'm disappointed in you that you didn't. Like somebody needed to.
She did need some sense knocked into her.
Yeah, she was
for
retarded.
Sure. She
Like-
was ridiculous. Not a fan of her. And
I like the orderly.
I don't know. I just push shit around. Don't know what's going on with people. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Push
I'll-
my
I'll
food
take
cart.
him.
He was ornery. He was funny. He was an ornery orderly. Oh man. No. Do you have a favorite character? There.
If I'm excluding Jack, because Jack was fucking awesome.
I did like Jack.
Like it has to be the doctor dude.
Dr. Hirsch?
Yeah, I liked his character. I like how it wasn't really a big dick moment, but when he walked in that bar and he's like, small Guinness. So y'all remember hear about the murder? Oh yeah, no, it just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
He's like completely casually talking about something that he knows they all know about, but they're all pretending they don't. So it's like the big dick moment of like, oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna talk to you like nothing happened. Pontiac's night. He was awesome.
He was cool, dude. I have to agree. with that assessment. I did like Dr. Hirsch because he was the sound of reason.
Yeah. He was the only person in this movie that had 2 brain cells firing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, he was the doctor, so yay.
Yay.
But still.
Sadly, that's not always the case. Wah, wah. But no, I think that this movie, it was super duper fun. It is in time for spooky season. So let's go ahead and round table. And to double down on spooky, I almost forgot. The score for this was done by Elmer Bernstein, who also did Ghostbusters.
Ooh, interesting.
I know, right? So spooky all around. But yes, let's go ahead and round table, and we will go ahead and do full moons for our werewolf review.
Well, before we do that, I want to
Sure.
know what your favorite werewolf movie is.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Go to Crystal first, because it's going to take me a minute.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Underworld.
Okay. All right.
I can see that.
I love Underworld is just so there's been a lot of really good ones, but I really do love that they did practical effects for Underworld.
I lost that argument. Thanks, Snow. Pointing that out.
Practical, not CGI effects.
Oh damn!
For their wolf.
I was like trying to refresh my memory, and I looked up the top 20 werewolf movies, and number 1 is this.
Yeah, yeah. This blew the doors off. Like,
Yeah,
it really is.
This was very, very a landmark in this type of like monster movie genre.
Yeah.
But I think werewolves, the best I've seen them done. I love the original Underworld.
Okay. All right.
Ooh, I got mine.
All right. Go ahead there, Crystal.
Van Helsing.
Yeah, I love me some Van Helsing werewolves. The only problem
Which
I have,
we're covering in a couple of weeks.
I have the only problem I have is they have Doberman ears. Their ears don't fit to them. They have Doberman ears.
Well, I think they were trying to
needed
go
to
for
hear.
the Egyptian jackal.
Maybe like a jackal. But a wolf's not a jackal.
I know.
So
I think it was trying to be like the.
I know. I know. And they did, except for the ears. You fucked up the ears. That's all that was wrong. Because otherwise, that is like my iconic. So one of my favorite my favorite Stephen King book was a short story called Cycle of the Werewolf. And it was a rare book. I loved it. I read the shit out of it. It was I could read it in one sitting, but it was my favorite book when I was a kid. And the way that the illustrator did the werewolves, it was very similar to Van Helsing werewolves, but it had the ears correct. So when I saw Van Helsing werewolves, I was like, oh, the ears wrong.
Hey, you know what?
So close.
No, don't worry about it. His whole old owner, the first version of that werewolf, Dracula just cut his ears into the tape.
He cropped him. Just cropped his ears.
Like
Cropped his ears. Cropped his ears.
It's all good. We're just gonna crop.
He's not fierce enough looking. Crop his ears.
You know what his original ears look like? Basset hound ears. They just hang down to his knees.
I love Dobermans that have the floppy ears.
I agree. I don't feel like ear cropping is necessary on Dobies. They're so cute with their floppy ears.
All of the dogs that usually have like those stand-up ears. When you see them, the floppers.
They're
oh my
so
god,
cute.
you're so fucking cute.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Although we had
well, that's like Sprinkle's ears. Hers
Oh, yeah.
flop, but then when she looks at you the right way, they go
yes. Ear mode engaged.
Yeah. She's like, I'm really paying attention.
I hear you talking shit.
My goodness. So for me, if I had to go with favorite, am I going with favorite appearance of werewolves or favorite werewolf movie?
I would say what your favorite like iteration of a werewolf in a movie.
Okay, all right. If we're going with that, then I would have to agree with Van Helsing.
That's
Okay.
why I picked Van Helsing.
Yeah, I would have to go with Van Helsing because that is how minus the ears, how I envision a werewolf to look. And that's when I draw them, like that's what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to go with Van Helsing.
Okay.
Yeah. But as far as the other in this genre that I think ironically rivals An American Werewolf is The Howling. The Howling is really good.
Okay.
So again, I'm really excited for you to watch that one because that one will be super fun to tackle as well. But yeah. All right. So Snow, how many full moons would you give An American Werewolf in London?
I'm gonna give it 3.5.
Okay.
Not bad.
Because it's very like I would say 3, but I got to give it the extra half and the extra. Honestly, where I get my enjoyment in this movie, it's the practical effects. It's the innovation that they used to create this monster that nobody had ever really seen done that way before. I really love where it led to because based off of this movie, we got Thriller because it wouldn't have been done that way without this movie. And I just love Thriller. And then just so many more things that developed because of this. The acting is pretty terrible.
It is.
The script is pretty terrible. But the movie is fun. It's effective. It's a fun, like, fucked up, funny horror movie. And again, I feel really weird that this is where I first saw sex. It's interesting.
Excalibur was mine, so I had a weird metal rape scene.
Metal fire rape.
Yeah.
That was your first sex scene?
Yeah.
I'm trying to now think of what my first sex scene was.
This is
Rising Sun.
Technically, yes, but that wasn't because I chose it.
I didn't choose this to be
Same
my
for
first
Excalibur.
sex scene. It's just the first movie that I can ever remember. Like I would have been at my earliest witnessing sex. So because again there was no they didn't like cover your eyes.
No. See, that was the difference. When my dad took me to see Rising Sun, he did cover my eyes for those scenes, so I can't really count that.
Can you shut up? We're talking.
This is the third time you've interrupted the show.
Where is it?
You girls talk throughout our show and say something back.
Into the mic. You're like sitting in the chair into the mic. You're in the chair at the table. I have a good tasting room idea. Well, pray tell us, what is it? Because you're here.
Top 5 sex scenes.
Didn't we already do this?
Nope.
I think you did.
We did worst.
Worst sex.
And that was our thing for the...
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Never done that either.
No, we did it for our category for the Denny's.
Yes.
That's why we were thinking
Barely
we'd
Chicks did.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Give me the wheel.
Yeah. I don't know where it is.
I don't know where it is.
Oh, it's over there. It's over there on your Halloween stuff. So that's mine. I give it 3.5 for
full moons
for technical. Yes.
All right. How about you, Crystal?
3.5.
I've got to agree, but I'm giving it my half for a slightly different reason.
Okay.
I did like the special effects. Yeah, I mean, the practical effects. I loved that. But I think what I'm giving the extra half for is the fact that he looked like a chunky little overgrown stuffed hamster at the end.
His legs were so tiny. He looked like sprinkles with fur. Like he had tiny little legs and this fat ass body. He is a 17 by 24.
Where are sprinkles?
I paused this shit and I'm like, yo, how
Before
could
she got
anyone be
fixed, that was her once a month.
I was like, how could anybody be scared of this thing? It's a giant floof ball.
Well, his mouth.
Well, his mouth didn't even look that damn scary because it was a mouth this big surrounded by this much fluff.
He did. He had a weird body proportion. I don't understand the body proportions.
I think it was how they had to do it just to move the puppet. Honestly.
And then I realized that thinking about the joints and how big they were.
Yeah.
You know what it
Because
reminds
everything
me of?
everything was puppet. Everything was being
Never-ending
done.
Story. That Wolf did the same thing. It was
Yeah.
a really weirdly proportioned wolf.
He looked so much better in the cave. He looked scarier in the cave. The
Until
moment
you saw his
him,
full body,
and
and
you're
you're
just
like,
what
You have
happened?
very little legs and a really weirdly proportioned head to body situation
Yes.
going on.
Yes.
This guy, same thing.
Skip leg day.
Yeah.
Don't skip leg day.
But his adorable, fluffy, fat hamster body is what gets my extra half.
All right. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ron.
By the way, your Lego dude broke. Your Lego dude's in pieces in front of Sammy.
I threw it at her tits.
And he just went poof.
He did. He went boom.
So now you got to re-put them back
I
together.
threw it really hard at her boobies.
And you got Everclear to boot.
Look at that. It's sitting right there.
Oh, you don't have to go far.
It's ready.
Ta-da!
Bum, ba-da-ba. Why are my clerk figures on the table, by the way?
I don't know, but
Ragnar did it. One to represent every person. He gave the wigger.
That's Randall. Randall's not a wigger.
This is apparently Chase.
Oh, jeez.
There's Stu over here with wings in a bottle.
This guy's
That's
got the
Loki.
hat.
That's Dante.
Yeah, so he's got the hat. And he's
No,
got
that's his head.
That's
Does
his
his
head?
head is shaped that way?
Yeah.
Oh, that's his hair.
It's his hair.
It looks like a hat. It looks
That
like
is
the hat that
unfortunate.
Ragnar always wears. So I figured that's what that was about.
That is
And
unfortunate.
his pants are sagging. So that makes sense.
You've never has anybody but me seen Clerks?
No.
I don't even know what it is.
What?
It's on your list.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ron, and then I will finish us out with my
What?
full moons.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So for myself, I'm also going to go with 3.5 because it is such an iconic film. I love the practical effects. Rick Baker blew it out of the park. I honestly do love, my favorite scenes are not the full floof werewolves, but when you see the heads of the werewolves, like up close and the amount of detail, that to me is just like, I love it. Like, I absolutely love that. The acting of Jack, I think, elevated the entire film.
He thought so too.
Yes, because he was threatened by a puppet.
Fucking idiot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but no, the acting, again, critical as far as acting, story, not the best. But then I meant to say, the reason why it took place in London was because of tax breaks, basically, and financial reasons.
So it's like
Basically,
Georgia?
Well, they were like, "Hey, if you get in on this EB bill, we'll let you film here for super cheap," but like you have to have like 95% English actors as your cast.
Yeah.
And then the reason why they picked London was one of that particular ED plan, but also because
The Victorian like horror thing.
it is the Gothic like capital of cinema.
Yeah.
It is one of the most Gothic areas in like ever in history.
Well, you've got Jekyll and Hyde, and Jack the Ripper, and
Jack the
all of that
Ripper,
stuff,
and you've got all of the. I mean, you have Mary
Beautiful
Shelley.
scenery,
That
too.
Mary Shelley was there. I mean, you have these. All of it, all the things. So,
would have been different if they did like a hillbilly version. American Werewolf in Alabama.
Man, the hills have eyes. The werewolves.
Yankee Werewolf in Alabama.
You don't have to worry. Those werewolves don't got no teeth.
They do, but it's like two.
It's like one.
And they're offset.
You know what it is? It's like when
And
you
they're
have a
rotted
can of
through.
juice and you need to pop it open.
They can't. They more like a vampire bite. They're a derpy vampire.
Derpy
They're a
vampire.
dorkfish.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.5 because there are definitely things about this film that I love. The practical effects, like I said, all of that. And yeah, it is a super fun movie. I definitely recommend at least a watch. I think it has replay value, obviously. I really enjoy it. And yeah, so 3.5. I wish it did have a stronger story. I wish it did have stronger acting all around. But beggars can't be choosers. You get some really sweet ass effects.
It's a landmark film,
yes.
and again, the effects in it are super cool.
Did get Thriller from John Landis, so that automatically is amazing.
Yeah.
So there
Which he
you
got
go.
hired from Michael Jackson. Like Michael Jackson fired his whole staff for that music video when he saw this movie and hired everybody there.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it was
It's a really amazing film. All right, Ron, go ahead.
Cheers to BAC, bitch.
Oh, all right. Cheers to cheers to BAC. There you go. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Cheers to BAC.
Okay.
He's looking right at you as he does it. He's making it weird.
Yeah.
Cheers to BAC.
How was it?
Nice.
Gag on it, bitch.
Oh, damn. I just had a flashback to the conversation earlier with the sign on the wall.
All right. So thank you, listeners. Please check us out on Instagram if you would like us to do a movie. We do fan requests.
Like, share, and follow.
That's right. Check us out wherever you can get your podcasts. And
check the boys out too. They're fun.
Yes, check out Barrel Age Flicks. They are fun. We like the boys. And also, we are grateful to be part of the Deluxe Edition Network. There are lots of great shows in there as well. And on that note, take us out, Spooky Snow.
Bye. Goats are bad. Hi, this is Snow. Thanks for listening to our podcast, Barrel Aged Chicks. It's 2023 and the chicks are here. We are so excited to share our future episodes of Barrel Aged Chicks, FMK, and Slasher Gal Pals. We hope you are enjoying our shenanigans as much as we do. Give us a follow on Instagram at Barrel Aged Chicks. If you'd like the gals to do a fan request, contact us on Instagram and we will give you a personal shout out on the show. Our podcast is available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and Good Pods. Swag available through the link on Instagram. Please check it out and thank you for your support. Special thanks to Carl Casey at White Bat Audio for his kick-ass music. He is amazing. Also, please grab a listen to the guys at Barrel Age Flicks Podcast. If you like booze, hilarity, and movies, check them out. Also, check out our network and other amazing podcasts at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. Bye till next time, and thanks for listening to our show. The party's leaving!